Hi, it's Trevor Smith, and I'm here today with NAR President Vince Malta. Welcome, Vince.
Welcome, Trevor. Thank you, Trevor. It's great to be with you and your YouTube audience.
Thank you. So I should give our audience a little background. So Vince Malta is a realtor in San Francisco. He's the 2020 president of the National Association of REALTORS. He comes from a long line of a real estate family, just like me. He's a third-generation realtor and the CEO and broker of Malta and Company, Inc. Vince has been in the real estate business for 43 years and has served the industry in countless roles. On the national level, Vince has testified before Congress multiple times on behalf of NAR on issues such as the impact of increasing conforming loan limits, insurance reform, and housing policy. He has served as the NAR Board of Directors from 2002 to present and was the 2010 and 2011 Vice President of Government Affairs. Since 1988, Vince has been deeply involved in the California Association of REALTORS. In 2002, he became an honorary state director for life, and in 2006, CAR elected him president. He was awarded Realtor of the Year for the state of California in 2007. He is a graduate of the University of San Francisco and the University of San Francisco School of Law. So there's your 2 cents. That's a lot of, you've got a lot of past accomplishments, Vince.
Yeah, it's because I'm old. There you go. Thank you, Trevor. And thank you for including me on your YouTube interview series. This has been great. It's an honor to be in the company of your, I think you did your Nevada state presidents as well as a lot of your local
I have all of them, actually.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so it's an honor to talk to all of these great leaders. I'm proud to be representing Incline Village, and working with you and the NAR leadership has been an absolute pleasure, both this year and even as president-elect last year was awesome. I think you guys really pulled off the video version of the mid-year very, very well. So my compliments to you. I know, that's obviously challenging. I have been saying this to all the other presidents that I've been interviewing, that we're all here for a reason at this time, right? This is not for someone that couldn't do this, rise to the occasion. And I applaud you and the NAR staff for really a job well done on the national level. And we feel it all the way down to the local level, even our small board in Incline Village. So on behalf of my board and my CEO, Kendra Murray, I really thank you for your efforts.
Well, thank you. And Trevor, as you know, being your president of your association, it takes a team. And we have an incredible team of volunteers and staff at NAR that make what we thought was impossible to achieve. And it's really emboldened us to think of all the possibilities we now have in relation to virtual meetings for thousands of people. So we're excited about the future. So if there's a silver lining, we'll talk a little bit about it today, but the possibilities now are endless.
Much appreciated. So, at a basic level, I had some questions that I had sent to you in advance, but what does the NAR president do? What is your primary responsibility?
I'm on Zoom calls 24/7. Okay, that's what I do now. Okay, if you had asked me what Zoom was 3 months ago, I couldn't tell you what it was. But now I think you can tell all our members that they would not have realized how well they could do these things in such a short period of time, and how they're using it in their marketing, how they're communicating to their clients, how they're engaging with them at a deeper level. So as NAR president, I think one of the primary responsibilities is communications. And I believe as the 2020 president, I've been given a tremendous opportunity in which to engage with our members, something I would never have envisioned last year, where I fly all over the country and I'm with tens or maybe hundreds of people at a time. Wonderful, love being with people. But just last week, with thousands of people communicating all over the world. I was on a call yesterday with our Asia partners and the day before with Japan. So again, the possibilities around us. So communications is a very important part as being an NAR president. And very basically, just so you know, I'm a volunteer. I'm a broker out of San Francisco. I am not staff. It's a one-year position. You're 4 years on the leadership team. So one of those responsibilities really is being 4 years on the leadership team of NAR, making committee appointments and leadership appointments, setting strategic priorities for the year. We did that this year by employing our strategic thinking committee to identify 8 important aspects of our industry, and we narrowed it down to 4. We can go over some of those, and the wonderful thing about it is that those priorities, given all that's happened, still ring true today, and such as enhancing the value of membership. Well, Trevor, if our members ever needed their associations, this is the time, right?
No doubt.
And they need us to advocate for them in Washington, at the state level, at the local level. And so we've been doing that. They need tools to help them navigate through this changing market environment. So that has really enhancing your membership. I think people and our members really understand what their association now does for them on a greater level. Collaborating for positive impacts on housing equality and affordability. That quality, as this country is going through protests and riots and so many things right now. Over this last weekend, we issued a message telling our members that our hearts go out to the victim's family all over the country. And our role in providing a proactive message is that we need to make sure that we work towards housing equality, affordability, because we know what home ownership and property ownership fosters in our communities. And so that's very important. The other one is driving community development. That might be switched. We may be rebuilding communities after COVID-19 and after the tensions that our country has gone through. And then there's so much information out there for consumers. And now you think about it, what is it that our clients need to know in relation to maybe forbearance agreements? Much misinformation going on about that. So we want the realtors really to be relied on as accurate information for consumers there. So that's some of the roles of the president, and I again work with that team, work with the staff, and trying to execute policy on behalf of our 1.4 million members, and work with our local and state associations, collaborate with them, because we are a realtor family. So that's, in a nutshell, what the president, he or she does.
No, that's a great explanation. And, I've been in the business for 30 years, not as long as you, but, if you would have asked me before I started my current leadership position, I probably wouldn't have any clue. I'd say, I don't know, do some interviews, who knows? But I think, the housing equality, something you touched on, actually is a very important issue, because that's at the base of this, rioting and all this stuff. It's all related. I mean, equal housing is a very important issue.
Before all this was going, we met with Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, trying to work with them in programs so that the public is given correct information, educational opportunities for our members to make sure that we really bring that forward, because that's a pillar of our organization. And despite COVID-19, whatever, those are things that always, never are put in the back burner. And so it rings so true today. That's our part as to what we can do for equality in this country. And so I'm very proud that the realtors work and strive to do that every day, as well as the aspect of all the good things that we do in our communities. There are realtors in every community in this country, and they're so active. So I look to working with our members in really bringing that forward and being a part of the change that needs to occur in this country.
So looking forward to I guess something more, obviously as realtors, people get this question all the time. Where's the market going? What do you think is going to happen? And this is probably a great question because I'm sure you get it every day. What's going to happen to the national market? I mean, obviously you have San Francisco, I have Lake Tahoe, and we probably know exactly where those are going, but where do you think the national market's going to go? What is the effect of COVID? What's the effect of the rioting? All this stuff, right?
Sure. So let's break it up. Let's talk about residential first, if we could. And your question is timely because NAR just released forecasts this last week. And the outlook for the remainder of the year has been upgraded for both home sales and prices. Home sales are now expected to decline by only 11% in 2020 as compared to an estimated, I think, 15% earlier. Median home prices projected to increase by 4% compared to an earlier forecast that saw no increase in home prices, which is really amazing. Sales are declining, really not because of social distancing. It's really because of the light inventory, including because builders pulled back. In fact, April saw a 7% year-over-year increase in prices. It's just phenomenal. So we're really driven by the fact that we have low inventory and low interest rates, okay? So I would say, sellers, you shouldn't be afraid to sell. We need to see inventory levels come up to create a more balanced market. Mortgage interest rates are at their lowest levels. So this is good news for buyers. So things are balancing out. Wages haven't been falling, and many of the jobs lost are part-time. So we're looking for, in our economy, to appear like a V. Okay, this is end of March, April, and then hopefully as we come up through June, as the economy starts rolling back online, this is the analogy. It's not going to be like a light switch. It's going to be more like a dimmer switch coming gradually on as more parts come on. That's what it should look like.
Sorry, I have a plane flying by my house. I don't know if you can hear it.
I live near San Francisco International, and you have more airplanes probably flying near you right now.
It sounds like an ultralight.
But we're hopeful that flights will resume.
It's really close.
It's okay. So switch, as we were saying earlier. So we're looking at somewhat of a balanced market moving forward, okay? Pending sales, as expected, April will be the lowest point, and we're expecting those to come up. And buyer comfort level seems to be growing. Speaking of airplanes, imagine if we were in the airline industry. Imagine if we were in the hotel or restaurant. The beautiful thing about our industry is that we were deemed essential in so many states across the country, and for good reason. And, I could give you a story as to why we're essential. In my market in San Francisco, we have many healthcare workers working in emergency rooms across the Bay Area, okay? And we're finding that people need housing because they're not able to live directly with their families. And so we're putting them up in temporary housing. We're finding space for them that is conducive where they could be with their families, their friends, etc. So we were deemed essential. And the great thing about it was we adapted so that we can minimize our social engagement personally and used virtual tools through the showings of properties, through the closings. So we were well poised to adapt and still continue to do business. And that will serve us well as we move forward as well. So it's very exciting. So that is, again, a silver lining. I think consumers have been wanting some of these services for a very long period of time. And now I think MLSs are have been accommodating quite well these virtual services. So it's great. So pending home sales down across the US in April, month over month to the year over year. Here in the West, pending sales by about, I think, 20% in April. And which is encouraging. It's better than in some other regions of the country. So market looks good. Probably different on the commercial front. I think commercials got their challenges as more people are finding to work out of their home, but they'll have the challenge when they go back online in the commercial industry. When people are going back to their offices, they're going to find that they may need more space to keep people more distant. So there's going to be a big shakeout in the commercial arena. But again, the other aspect of this is savings. Look at personal savings. I mean, they're up. Personal savings have jumped 152%, given that household spending is down. So we have a lot of pent-up savings too, which will bode well for our industry.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So, and maybe this is something you haven't answered already, but what do you see as the threats to our industry for the rest of the year? I mean, I know we have obviously issues you've already talked about, but are there other things that are out there that are?
So the threats are how we continue to work through the responses, okay? How is mortgage forbearance going to affect? And for some of your listeners or viewers that don't understand what's going on with mortgage forbearance, it's where the borrowers are asking their lenders or their servicers if they could put off making their payments for a period of time. That's forbearance. Forbearance is not forgiveness, but it's putting off. And we've worked hard with Congress, with regulators, to provide a very fair solution where people could stay in their homes. If you have a mortgage-backed security, you're able to put off those payments to the end of the loan so that you don't have to resume and double up payments within a period of time in the next 3 months, et cetera. So the question is, when can people start making their payments on these forbearance agreements, okay? And how will this affect their credit in the future? Well, the CARES Act says it shouldn't affect their credit rating, so they're going to be protected for a period of time through this. And we'll look to monitor and see if we can make sure that things match. But you have the lending community that can create overlays and restrictions. So for instance, to get a loan, let's say in the future, they may ask for, okay, you had a mortgage, well, I want a 12-month payment history. Okay, so we're trying to work with lenders on those issues as well. Look, this has been something that has been so great, that has affected so many people. Impossible, okay, to make sure that they're able to maintain their credit, not lose their home over this or their property, because this also extends to commercial properties, multifamily dwellings, where you have tenants that are not able to make payments to the landlord, and landlords are able to work out forbearance agreements on those mortgages on investment properties. So very, very important. The concern we have there is that it seems that local, state governments or the programs are allowing a much greater period for tenants possibly not to make their rental payments. And so we don't want to make sure there's no mismatch where the property owner only has 3 months and the tenant has 6 months or a year. Very difficult on small property owners, for instance. So we're looking at those mismatches. The concern of inflation coming, that is something. How are we going to pay for all this? Okay, so
no doubt.
Taxes. Okay, so some of those things are things that we're going to be mindful of, and of course we have things that were pre-COVID-19 that we're concerned about regarding flood insurance, the reformation of Fannie and Freddie to make sure that we have financing moving forward in this country that's affordable. So and then tax reform, again, to make sure that we have the SALT deduction that is severely limited and affects high-cost states a great deal. So those issues haven't gone away. We're still going to work those issues. They've been put aside by Congress for a bit to get through this thing, but we want to make sure that as they're working through these solutions, that those come into play as well. So that's along
those same lines, Vince. Yeah, so along the same lines, obviously there's challenges right now in jumbo financing, right? And the uncertainty that's in the marketplace means that there's no one wants to buy them. So you've got banks basically have their own money to lend. And you were talking earlier about overlays. I'm experiencing in my area, you probably have it in yours as well, is
Absolutely.
you really can't buy anything in my market that's not jumbo. So if you're going to get a loan, you are, subject to all kinds of crazy conditions or added conditions. And, who knows if that'll affect our market. I mean, long term, it's, maybe 2/3 of our deals are financed. So it's a
Yeah.
major concern. I've talked with our congressman about it, and I know you guys are working on it. So, when do you think there's going to be enough stability in the marketplace for those, let's say, what we had before, let's say February, what we had as far as jumbo financing, is that going to return, or is it going to be an extended period of time before we see normal jumbo financing?
Right. So we're working on this on a couple of fronts. NAR believes that the national loan limits should be raised so that Fannie and Freddie can guarantee those loans in the jumbo market. So we're asking for a temporary raise on those loan limits. We believe that would help. So in turn, the Fed can buy them. It removes the risk really from lenders in that regard. So that's one aspect of something we're really working on there. And we're looking at, in relation to these overlays and these requirements that lenders are coming up, and pulling back. We're working with lenders to make sure that that they understand, or that they will not be left holding the bag. So we're again working on policies that will loosen up those markets, especially in those overlays. So that is ongoing. But first thing we're going to try to do is raise those loan limits and get that going again.
So this is probably something, I don't know, again, if you've been asked about this, but, obviously one of the communication things was, you need to be talking to your clients and all that, but what are the opportunities for our membership? What for realtors, beyond helping your community and trying to, bring sanity back to, let's say, the real estate transaction and working on the things that NAR is working on, what are the opportunities for our membership as let's say, realtor members?
Well, this is a time for our members to reach out to their clients, because they're reevaluating so much right now, not just in the area of forbearance and making sense of all the programs out there available to them in relation to small business loans and unemployment assistance and things that we were really behind, and we've been communicating to our members. But clients are really reevaluating the space that they're in. I mean, for instance, many of us have been in our homes for almost 3 months right now, and we're looking at our home differently. Is it enough space for us? Is it too much space for us? We're looking at all that. Do we have enough home office space? Because it looks like, we're going to be working out of our home longer than we think here. What's our yard like? Our garden. So and I can't go to my health club. So what's my exercise space look like? So we're reevaluating. So the opportunity is that realtors could reach out and assist people with helping people evaluate their space right now, their communities. They're looking at all of that. So, and the same thing in the business world as to what their space is, their needs for space, et cetera. So there's going to be a reshuffling and a reevaluation. And so that'll provide a good opportunity, as well as, of course, the low-hanging fruit is the low interest rates. And that is something that's a great opportunity for people right now. So with great change, great opportunity.
Yeah, no doubt. I know one of the goals that you guys had, at least for NAR, was to, really reach out more to the local associations and local membership. And, I applaud you guys. You make it so easy to request an interview, although you and I did this directly, but I saw that Charlie Oppler was on there. You can reach NAR very easily now. Do you think you guys have really accomplished that this year? I mean, I think you have, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I really believe that we're just scratching the surface as to what's available here. So I mean, our meetings, back in May. We normally have about 9,000 people attend our mid-year meetings where we go to Washington, we march on the Hill, and we go over policy. Well, we had over 28,000 people register online for our meetings. That's incredible. We're looking at our meetings in November in New Orleans, for instance. Again, we typically have 15, 20,000 people at those meetings. Why not have 50,000 people virtually at some of these things? Include more of our members. Do more of what we're doing right now to reach out our members. So not only appear at the state level, in the local level, we're appearing at some brokerage companies right now and going over policies with them and telling them what NAR is doing and putting a face on it. So we have so many communication opportunities. I am literally in 3 parts of the country every day right now, virtually. Could not do that before. Did not want to do that before. But it's now, it's just going to be, I think, something that we look at common. And then, of course, we're going to find that balance of doing this as well as in person. And we'll find that. But this is a great opportunity to show members and demonstrate what it is that we can do when we work together and get their input, which has been so valuable in moving forward, especially as we're getting guidance on legislation that has been recently released with all the in the CARES Act and other programs.
So obviously you go into your president or past president role after this year, but what's next for you?
Well, what's next is I've got 6 more months of this. Okay, so I want to make sure that our leadership team keeps talking with our members, making sure that they have things available to them. We pulled everything out of the tool chest for them. We have this program called Right Tools Right Now. Get in there, sign up for some of these programs. These are great educational opportunities. We're offering some things at 0 cost or substantially reduced cost. And they can go to nar.realtors/RTRN, which is Right Tools Right Now, and sign up for some programs. Get your commitment to excellence. So for me on a personal level, I want to transition into that next role as a leader, and that is mentorship. So we have to replace ourselves as leaders, Trevor, and you know that. And so I want to make sure that we put people and support people in these positions so that work can get done on behalf of our members in our industry.
No doubt.
We want to get people that are actively involved in real estate so that when we make decisions as leaders, I'm actively selling real estate in San Francisco. I think that helps me understand what needs to be done. So I want to support people like that in the industry so that they have a pulse on what we're doing.
Sounds great, Vince. Anything else any other thoughts you have that our membership or even the public that might be watching this would be interested in that you have to say?
The important thing right now is that we continue to do our work at putting people's safety first in mind. Okay, we want to get through this. We don't want to add to any of the problems with COVID-19. And so by following local state guidelines, okay, and finding out how we can show properties and how we can conduct our business safely and efficiently, we'll get through this and we'll show people that we can work, we are essential, and that we can get the job done. So I ask, keep yourself safe, keep your clients safe, and we'll get to the other side of this a lot quicker.
What a great message, Vince. Thank you so much for your time and to your staff at NAR. I wish you well in San Francisco. We miss that city, and I just hope we can visit there soon, and hopefully we can see you and your lovely wife. Say hi to her for me. And
you do the same, and we want to go back up to Tahoe, talk about beautiful areas of our country. So thank you.
Really appreciate it, Vince.
Thank you,
Take
Trevor.
care.
Take care.